Hey, how's it going guys? Ricky Summer here, and today I've come back in time to furnish you with some quick and dirty beginner tips for X4. But first, a message from our sponsor.
Inner Rim Excavations. Building the future.
So I keep getting questions from newcomers to the series about just what do you do when you start a new game in X4? What do you do? What can you do? How do you start? How do you start making money? Not even like how do you make money efficiently, just like what do you do, you know? I get it. It's super daunting. If you're not familiar with this type of game, it can be pretty scary. So I'm making this video to outline just a couple of things you can do to get started in X4. The first thing I do whenever I start a new game in X4 is run the loop. Once you start discovering more sectors, you'll notice that there's a ring of highways in the center of the map that connects a bunch of major sectors. First thing I always do is just run that highway. It's super easy, it's basically autopilot. You just jump into the highway and it takes you all the way around, and it's just gonna keep spinning you around, baby, right round like a record, baby, right round, until you stop the ship or pull out of the highway. This is useful because it helps you discover a bunch of sectors early on with very little effort, because it just does it all for you. Then you'll have access to at least 3 major ship production sectors, so you can start buying ships and you can start your career in X4. Next up, let's talk about combat. So while you're running the loop, you can check mission offers on the side of the screen. You can also pause the game with the pause key by default and just check offers. Look for missions marked as easy. You're specifically looking for taxi service missions, mine clearing missions. They're usually pretty easy and don't require a fully fledged combat ship to complete. You can do that in a scout or pretty much anything that has a main cannon. And lastly, the missions that task you with going to stations and taking out criminal traffic. That's super easy. They don't even fight back, dude. Now, if you start with a combat capable ship, you can bump it up a little bit and maybe go for some proper combat missions. But if you run just these super easy missions that can be done even with a scout ship, in no time you'll have enough money to upgrade your ship or buy a trader or miner. Something else you can do is engage in piracy. Now, at the start of the game, you're going to be doing small ship piracy, which doesn't involve marines or anything fancy like that. All you're going to be doing is finding your target and shooting it until they get scared enough to jump ship. Then the ship will be left abandoned floating in space, and you'll be able to swing in there and claim it as your own. Now, it's important that you pick your targets carefully, because whoever you start pirating from isn't going to like you very much for very long. You also need to keep in mind, even though you're pirating, for example, Xyath ships, and they hate everyone, dude, you still need to pay attention to whose space you're in. For example, in my recent Split Vendetta playthrough, I was pirating Xyath ships in Ministry space. And then the Ministry got mad with me, and they were mad with me for the rest of the game. So be careful with that. I recommend you pirate scale plate ships, SCA, on the map. Why? Because their rep is locked, my dog. You can't upset them. They're always mildly upset with everyone. It's fantastic. You also can't gain rep with them, so just take their ships. They don't mind. So all you do is slide up behind them, start shooting, occasionally calm them to tell them to surrender, and then, hopefully with a little bit of luck, they'll just jump out of the ship eventually. You want to be persistent though, keep up the damage, don't let the shields recharge, and don't destroy the ship. Eventually they'll jump out of the ship, you'll be able to shimmy on in, you get into your spacesuit, you scan that ship down, you look for a signal source that will be located where you actually enter the ship, where the spacesuit cargo entrance thingy is, and then you jump in the ship and it's yours. Then you can repair it up and use it in your fleet, or you can sell it for some quick fat stacks of high society. But Ricky Summer, what do you do with those fat stacks of high society? I'm so glad you asked. Let's talk about trading. So now you've got a trading ship, either because you pirated the shit out of it or you purchased it legally from a wharf. Unfortunately, at this stage of the game, you probably won't have a pilot that's high rank enough for you to actually do auto trading, which is a behavioral default command that basically just automates the whole trading process. They will find their own deals and make their own money. It's pretty slick. But right now, you got to do it manually. You can either jump into the pilot seat and actually hunt down your own deals, or you can do what I do. So at this point, you've probably discovered a few sectors and you've identified a few potential trade opportunities, even if you haven't noticed it yet. So now you go to the map, you open up the trade menu, and then you select some items that you wish to trade. I usually start with energy cells, engine parts, and hull parts, just because they're so sought after in ship production at the beginning of the game. Then all you have to do is identify wares that you can buy low and sell high. Queue up a bunch of trades, and you can queue up a bunch of trades. Then you just sit back and you let your trader execute those trades, and you're done. But yo, hey, listen, that takes a little bit of work. Yeah, it takes a little bit of work. What, you want to do even less work? All right, buddy, then mining is for you. So maybe instead of pirating the hell out of a trader, you've pirated the hell out of a mining ship, or purchased it legally. Luckily, miners are far lower maintenance. All you do is select the mining ship, go to the information page, head on over to the behavior tab, and then select the default behavior, auto mine. Then you select the mineral you want to mine and the sector that the miner will operate. At the beginning of the game, you'll probably want to select Nevidium. Why? Because it's basically broken. It sells for so much, it's bordering on an exploit. The only downside is eventually the market will dry up and you'll have to switch to silicon or find some other way to make money. Now the trick with Nevidium is there's only a handful of stations that'll actually buy it. The trading stations, you know, the ones with the big icons that have like the credit symbol on them. Now there's only a handful of sectors that have both Nevidium to mine and a trading station to sell it at. Your low rank miners at this point will only operate within one sector. Once they level up, then they'll travel between sectors and it makes it a lot easier. But for the moment, you need to operate in those sectors that have both a trading station and Nevidium to mine. Now, I'm not going to spoil it. Where's the fun in that? So I'll let you find the trading stations yourself and then probe around for Nevidium. Alternatively, you can just go straight to silicon, which won't make you as much money, but it's a lot easier because it's actually used in production throughout the universe. Just as with trading, you can also mine manually by jumping into the pilot seat, scanning down asteroids, shooting them, and then picking them up holding the O key to suck them in with your tractor beam thingy. But like, that's kind of boring, dude. But like, do what you want, you know? Like, I'm not here to kink shame your mining habits. Bonus round, exploring the universe. Yeah, sure, you can run around these sectors and look for gates yourself, which you kind of have to do that anyway, but then you can go through the gates manually and just keep on going down the rabbit hole looking for systems and sectors on your own. Yeah, sure, you can do that, but that takes time. Instead, why don't you get a little scout ship, a nice, fast, sexy, sleek scout ship, and then once you find gates, don't go through the gate yourself, you select the scout ship, you right click on the gate and you select explore. Then that ship's going to go through the gate on its own and explore the sector on the other side. Now, yes, the default explore command is kind of not great. There are mods that make it better, but just for our purposes, just checking out what's on the other side of a gate, it's a great way to do it. That's what I do all the time. It saves me heaps of time. Now, when you're actually looking for gates yourself, use the Shift 3 by default long range scanner. You hold the button, but not for too long, and then it goes boom, and you'll come up with all these like question marks, and you can go check them out, and some of them will be gates. Once you've discovered a bunch of sectors, slap down them satellites, boy, let's go. So at the start of the game, you're going to be using standard satellites, but as soon as you can afford it, bump on up to advanced satellites because they're so much better. The range is huge. So you want to plop them next to like trading stations and big clusters of stations so you can get updated trade data for your miners and your traders, and it's very good. It makes it so much easier. It also just gives you updated information on what's going on in the sectors. So if like the Xenon come through a gate and start pounding on a Taladi trading station, then you can be aware of it, you know? That's super handy. Also, satellites tend to not be shot down, so you can just like put them in Xenon sectors and like see what's up, hey, listen, that's pretty handy. Last but certainly not least, the universe is riddled with abandoned ships that they're just waiting for you, dude. They're just sitting there on their own, floating, going, hey, listen, hey buddy, come pick me up. I'm ready. I'm waiting. You just have to find them. I'm not going to spoil where they are. Where's the fun in that? Also, I don't know where most of them are. But look, if you're lucky, you can pick up like some trading ships, some pretty like decent fighters. Even like there's a destroyer hanging around out there somewhere. If you can find that, that's big money. Or like just use it as your flagship. Why not? The universe is your oyster, dude. Anyway, that was Ricky Summers' quick and dirty beginner tips for just what the hell to do when you start up a new X4 game. If you have any questions, shimmy on down to the comments. Either myself or one of the community members here, I'm sure, will be more than happy to answer your questions. You can also head on over to the Discord. There'll be a link in the description below. We've got a dedicated Space Sims channel that, to be honest, right now is mostly X4. We got people asking questions in there, a lot of people answering questions. It's a good, friendly, wholesome time. It's magnificent. But for the moment, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to gently caress that like button, taste the game, be excellent to each other. And I'll see you next time. Ricky Summer, out.